Do you want this job?
Yes.
Yes, you do fucking want this job. Then you're gonna have to fucking swallow this whole fucking life and let it grow inside you like a parasite. Getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it fucking eats your insides alive and it stares out of your eyes and tells you what to do.
The Bootcamp Speedrun. It's certainly something that requires endurance and, I guess, skill, but also a whole lot of patience, because you have to get every single turn and shot and angle just pinpoint to the point where it is just ridiculous, and to the point where the game ends up just fighting against you and crashing all the goddamn time because it doesn't know how to handle you shooting and no-scoping and throwing grenades and all kinds of stuff. Even though this is the shortest run in Hogs of War in terms of speedrunning, it is the most detailed and ultimately for me the most stressful, because you know that it's only going to take you 2 minutes to get from point A to point B, i.e. the finishing line, but that finishing line seems so far away when you factor in all of the other elements you have to deal with before you get to the end. So let's break down the eternal suffering that is the Hogs of War Bootcamp speedrun, starting with the very first turn. Now, you need to get as close to the wall as possible without slipping off, because if you do so, you'll have to restart the run. If you're maybe a little bit too wide, that'll cost you, a couple of milliseconds, and you'll also have to restart the run. The amount of times I got to this very first turn and had to reset the run because I just slipped up against the wall. I, just sort of pinched the side of the wall, and the pig was like, well, I'm gonna slip. If you do manage to make it past the first turn, then you have to pick up the crate. I said pick up the crate. If you do manage to pick up the crate, then you're in luck, because you then have to angle yourself in just the right way in order to bayonet the dummy and then turn around and give yourself some extra seconds, because turning your big Tonka truck ass around your heavy thickness of a pig is a tricky situation, because their legs are so tiny they have to back it up and then spin around, and sometimes you can even slip off the side wall if you angle yourself too far to the right and trying to... it's just a mess. Awkwardly turning around aside, it is a little bit more forgiving when you come to the second turn, but it is still very infuriating when you slip off it over and over and over again. Ironically, that is probably the easiest section in this speedrun, and then we move on to collecting the first set of rifle crates as we make our way to the rifle range. And here you'll be missing shots over and over again, just as you were slipping up on the wall over and over again. You got to collect the standard rifle, and you have targets in front of you that are pretty close, but not too close, because sometimes you can angle too far down, too far up, get frustrated through your controller, the usual. But the standard rifle is the easy bit, because then you have to pick up the sniper rifle and get that no scope to be anywhere near the world record time. But I swear the game is just working against me, because sometimes I'll have it pinpoint accurate, in my sights, it's lined up perfectly, and the bullet will just fly over the head of the dummy every time. I usually go from left to right, not right to left, but it doesn't really freaking matter because the game just hates me. So if you manage to make it through the rifle range without tearing your hair out, then you collect the first set of grenade crates, which to be honest is quite easy, as long as you don't mess up the jump over the barbed wire, combined with trying to trigger the power bar input to throw the grenade. The amount of times I knew a run was dead because I'd be there spamming the X button to try and trigger the power bar to throw the grenade and nothing would happen. Like, you can lose a solid 2 seconds there if you're not careful. But then you move on to the first wall climb, which is kind of easy as long as you either don't slip off, partway through, and that you're angled in the right direction, so that when you collect the second crate, you can just whiz off the wall climb, get the crate, whiz back onto the second wall climb, and struggle to get anywhere near the kind of jumps that Caster was managing to pull off in his runs, because wall climbing for me is fun. It is easily the hardest wall climb, and when you have to then run along it and then throw 2 grenades to blow open the door, which is the next section, it gets incredibly tricky when you end up missing your very first throw. It's even more annoying once again when the input from the power bar once again just doesn't want to acknowledge you when you try and throw the second grenade, which again can easily save you half a second. And last but not least, you then have to collect the bazooka crate, and as you can see from my actual recorded run where I briefly held the world record, I actually lost some time by picking up the bazooka crate, trying to select it immediately and selecting skip turn rather than selecting the bazooka, which cost me a solid second or so, and then finally having to actually hit the final set of dummy targets. The amount of times I got to this point and then only hit one of them rather than two with my final bazooka shot was incredibly painful to look at, especially when I knew I was about to break the world record and, you know, be victorious and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, nothing too crazy, nothing too stressful. Everyone had some fun, it was good competition, and I got a lovely stress headache at the end of it. But seriously though, on a serious note, it was a lot of fun. Having that competitive edge between a bunch of people trying to beat this world record was pretty sweet, and it going back and forth constantly over those 2 days was pretty cool as well. And for me to be able to hold it for a little while was kind of nice. But if you think you can beat the world record for the Hogs Bootcamp speedrun, then check out the link in the description to see the other records as well. Go ahead and check out the speedrun page for Hogs of War, and indeed see if you can beat some of the other world records that are on there, including 100%ing the entire game for single player. There's a whole bunch on there, check them out. But also, come join the Hogs of War Discord. We have plenty of members in there who all share the wonderful passion for this game. And we are, of course, approaching almost 600 members, which is going to be pretty sweet as we move into Christmas time. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have no idea what it was, but we'll end with some kind of random clip from something. Goodbye.
Today's secret ingredient is